What's up, everybody? I'm former quarterback Malik, and if football, sports interviews, and having a good time interests you, then make sure to click the like and subscribe button as it really does help support this channel, and it also makes sure that you guys never miss a new video. How's everyone doing? And welcome back to another episode of the Malik Rozier Show. Again, super excited to be here as I do love doing this. And the first thing that we're going to go ahead and get into is NIL in high school. Okay, so there's been a lot of talk about this. I know it's in California, and what I'm reading, especially on On3, is even Alabama is getting into. And I know Georgia was doing some stuff, Florida is too. So I think before we really get into it, and I know it really does help these kids, but to me, I think there needs to be some checks and balances of saying, okay, below the age of 18, the kid can only make 2 million, 5 million, whatever, put a cap on it. I think there are some certain states like Texas where they have big oil companies, they have big high schools where they're going to take advantage of this. I think there will be some Florida schools as well, like IMG, that have some big boosters behind it that'll just basically throw cash to these kids and get these kids to come over. So I think there needs to be some type of checks and balances so where you don't basically have a mini transfer portal in high school the same way that you do in college. I think secondly, you're going to have a lot of young, good athletes, especially at the park ball level that's coming up, basically get vulturized and basically harassed by people that think, oh, I can help you. Let me be your agent. Let me help you get deals. Let me do blah, blah, blah. Let me show this high school. You're going to have high school coaches that do backdoor deals with some dealerships saying, hey, give me 10%. I'll act like his mini agent. I'll make sure he signs with you guys, etc. I think there's going to be a lot of that going on, which can be very, very shady. And to me, I think that has no place in high school football. Like it's supposed to be, helping people out, helping these kids grow, helping them mature as a man. I do think that, obviously these high school coaches should get paid more because they do a lot. They do help the community a lot. But also, I think there's going to be guys that fully take advantage of, and you're going to have kids that they completely screw over, and it's going to become a big issue in the future. Now, the good, I know it's kind of hard to see, is it allows kids to make profit and focus while making money. So, what I mean is for me, like the only way for me to make money is I would do football or baseball, and then I have to get a part-time job or I have to go work at a convenience store or something, especially in high school. But now if I know, hey, I just become a good player, I take my highlights, I post it, I try to get a whole bunch of reviews, I kind of ping off my boys. Now I can get paid at least $2,000 or $3,000 a month just off these brand deals. Why would I not do that? That's a lot better than them having to work, a after school job and things like that. Not saying that I don't want to teach these kids jobs, but I think it allows these kids to solely focus on sports, get better at sports, focus on what they want to get good at, and still allow them to make some money. Next, and I think this is the biggest one. This is where I think this has to become from the high schools themselves. If you're going to allow these kids to get paid, you have to do a better job with the financial teaching. So, they need to teach them how money works from a very young age. So if you're 16 years old, 14 years, I think as soon as you cross that middle school to high school freshman year, you should understand what a budget is. You should kind of understand what taxes are, because if you're going to have to pay these kids, you should have to at least teach these kids exactly what they're going to get into, because I think it's very, very wrong for adults to sit here and say, yeah, we're going to open up NIL, but then you have kids that don't understand what it is. And honestly, like in some instances, you can't even expect their parents to understand what's going on. So I think it could be interesting. I think there are going to be some very good stories, but also there are going to be some very bad stories if they don't have black and white guidelines on how much, who can help, et cetera, going in, especially to high school football when you're dealing with kids that are 14, 15, 16, 17 years old. So next, I know a lot of people have seen Riley Leonard's going to Duke. I do think he's a great player, but I do not think the Notre Dame offense fits him. I think the only way that it does is if Notre Dame finally just says, screw it, we're going to, stop being a little and throw the ball around some more. So I'll kind of show you what I mean. Sam Hartman, to me, who was one of the best quarterbacks in the ACC of the last couple of years, 2021, over 500 attempts, almost 300 completions, 4,000 yards, 39 touchdowns. And the year after that, the attempts went down, and so did the completions, but his touchdowns were only one less. His picks went down. He did a really good job. And in 2023, it's him at Notre Dame. I mean, if you look from 2021 when he was a sophomore to last year, I mean, that's down over 100 completions. And you even look at here, that's over 200 attempts. Touchdowns, down. I mean, obviously the interceptions are down too, But to me, I think that's one thing that I don't really like about Notre Dame, and it's kind of been their MO for a while, is that they do a great job of getting quarterback. They don't use them. They don't use them to advance. They're kind of like, to me, they're almost like in that Wisconsin kind of mindset. I know Wisconsin's changed a lot, but like the old, like, we're going to line up in the one back and we're just going to overpower you and just kind of like use our guys and lean on you. And yes, that works. But like, if you really want to get good quarterbacks, explosive quarterbacks, you got to be creative. You got to let them throw the ball around. You got to let them make plays. And so I think that's going to be the biggest thing is, do they allow Riley Leonard to be Riley Leonard? Because that's what Duke did. Duke basically said, hey, you're our guy. Here's a team. Go make plays. And that made Riley so good because he understood that he had to make plays. When he goes to Notre Dame, it's going to be like, hey, this is more of a team game, which is good. You definitely want a team game. But for him for Notre Dame to go beat the Ohio States and the Michigans and whoever they're playing, especially they're trying to make it to the college playoff football, especially they're trying to make it to the college football playoffs. Especially if Notre Dame's trying to make it to the college football playoffs, they're going to have a quarterback that's dynamic and that makes plays. And to me, I think you've kind of seen it that their quarterbacks kind of just stagnate out. And again, I showed you Sam Hartman's numbers. His numbers definitely dropped. Obviously, his passing rating stayed the same. I'll pull it back up. So the passing ratings were around the same at 159, but everything else from touchdowns to attempts, completion percentage went up a little bit, but attempts, completion, yards, everything dropped. Maybe average yards per attempt. But, that's kind of the biggest thing that, I'd want to see Notre Dame change is, hey, you guys are getting good quarterbacks, but use them, put them in better situations, make sure that, they're throwing the ball a lot because that's why y'all brought them there. Y'all didn't bring them there just to kind of hand the ball off and throw it, 15, 20 times a game. So hopefully they do better. Hopefully they open it up because I do like Riley Leonard. Next, so we're talking a little about the portal again. A lot of people are talking about this. Dylan Raiola going out to Nebraska. His uncle is there. What's kind of crazy is his uncle just got a 53 salary increase, 53% salary increase, which is it's happened, but it is kind of like, hey, like, we need your nephew. Here's a little family bonus if you can get him out here. And then there's Fleming's from, Julian Fleming's that's from Ohio State. Obviously, there's a lot of talk about Kyle Mccord going to Nebraska, and then you say, hey, we're going to sign Dylan as our freshman. Then you bring Fleming's in as a receiver. I think it can help kind of both of them commit as both of them are kind of looking, hey, do I want to go to Nebraska? I think if they can hurry up and get one to commit, I kind of think it helps the other one. And then secondly, especially for Dylan, Matt Rhule is an NFL mind. We know he was with the Carolina Panthers, so he does have some NFL connections, understands how the NFL operates. And I think when you're a young guy, especially like in Dylan's spot that's talented, you want to play early, maybe sit 1 year, then play after, maybe even redshirt, sit, then play. Being around guys that understand how NFL mind things, knows NFL defenses, things of that nature really, really helps you when you're trying to make your decision. Next, we're going to the bowl game. Everyone knows who plays Rutgers, at least for the Miami fans. I'm going to go over my top 3 players on each side that, I'm super looking forward to. And I think they have to have big games to really help us. One, offense, obviously, is JB, quarterback. I think he has to do a great job of being smart with the football, making plays, being dynamic. And lastly, just being yourself, man. Go out there, have fun, smile, run around, just be the JB that, you've always been. Next, and I know this is a weird one, but Chris Johnson Jr., I'd love to see him in the game. I'd love to see him on some matchups, some swing passes, some screen games, something. Just get the kid the ball, see what he can do, see what you got. Number 3, Ray. I think Ray is a beast. I think he's someone that is going to explode next year. Going with some 10 personnel, putting, Ray and Brashard in the slot and kind of let them do their thing, I think could be very, very unique. And even doing, some of the motion with the little toss passes where the quarterback just kind of catches it, tosses it up, and let Ray catch it and run. I think there's some stuff like that needs to be shown so we can see what we got on defense. Number 1, Kiko, he has to lead. Obviously, he's losing both, James Williams and Cameron Kitchen. So can he lead this defense? And obviously guys around him have to help. But to me, I think right now with Cam being out, he kind of becomes the heart and soul of the defense, especially going into the bowl game. Number 2, Jaden Wayne, defensive end. I think this guy is physical. He's obviously a young guy, but I think he's going to have to get more and more playing time because obviously we want to play the young guys. I think he has a lot of talent, but I think it's going to be a game where he can kind of make some damage. And then lastly is Damari Brown. Obviously, he's a young corner. He looked very, very good versus Florida State with Keon Coleman. And if you can lock down Keon, he should be able to lock down, for the most part, these Rutgers receivers. So I'm very interested to see how he plays, what he does, because consistently with him is going to be key. He is talented. He's big. He's physical. He knows what he's doing. But obviously, to me, with any position, consistently doing your job every play is the hardest thing to do. And this guy has a talent. I'm just interested. Can he do it over and over again? Next, What Miami needs, okay, so this is out of the portal specifically. To me, number one is Cam Ward. You need a quarterback. You need someone that you think can compete and really help out. I know we have Jakari. I know we have Emory. I love both of them. I think both of them will be great quarterbacks at University of Miami, whichever one plays. But if you can have a 1 year field guy to kind of say, hey, Emory, we're going to let yourself heal. We're going to let you learn a little more. Hey, Jakari, we kind of did the same thing. We're going to develop you because, again, remember, last year he asked to go to get redshirted. He went to scout team. Well, really this year. So he went Jakari. Remember, Jakari asked to get redshirted. So he went to scout team. They didn't send no one probably over to watch him on scout team. They probably have barely watched any of his film. Now, there's probably our clips they watch. And when I say clips, I mean like highlights of him making plays. But they're not going to sit there and watch every play. They're not going to sit there and go through his film with him. You know what I mean? And I could totally be wrong. I could 1,000,000% be wrong, and then I would literally tip my cap off and tell them great job. But for the most part, what I've been around is that they don't really look at scout team offense. Okay, the defense guy will look at scout team offense, but the offensive side, where you're looking at scout team defense and you're looking at the defense that you're going to play. And so for me, if you're actually trying to develop this kid, then you got to have him around Dawson 24/7 so that he can develop. So that Dawson can critique him on what's wrong and what's right. So I think it could be very interesting to see what happens. But I do think this is a very big game for Jakari. But also, I still think you got to get a quarterback, maybe even two. Maybe you'll get a JUCO kid or even like an Ivy League guy to come in and just add some more depth and experience. I mean, we've seen two of our guys go down really. So we've been there, and to me, we don't need to be in that position again. Next, Corey Brooks went to Alabama. Obviously, a Miami guy receiver. Obviously with us losing Kobe Young, we need some receivers, we need some experience, we need someone that to me can add a little attitude to that room. They have attitude, they definitely do, but someone that definitely can add some more attitude will help. And then Jake Velling, for people that don't know him, look him up. He's a tight end. He is a beast. We obviously need tight ends. I think we got a good young freshman tight end. I do like Riley Williams. I like lots of these guys can do, but to me, I think we need someone that is explosive. I think this guy had like 8 touchdowns this year. So big 6'5", redshirt sophomore out of Oregon State. I think he's someone that, DJ really liked. I think he's someone that whoever our quarterback will be will really like. On the defense side, I've done some digging, but not too much. But I think the 3 big positions, and I'll let obviously them kind of pick. But number one is safeties. Obviously, we're losing Cam and James. We got to get a safety. I know there's some talk about, Coach Taylor's son coming back, and I think he'll add some depth, but I think we definitely need 1 or 2 more guys that are solidified starters that can really replace the shoes of James Williams and Cameron Kitchens. James was one of our, I'm pretty sure, top 2 or 3 tacklers as a safety coming down the box, filling holes. So big replacement there. D tackle, defensive end. Obviously, we know about Ruben Bain, but LT's gone, and so filling that spot in. I obviously know some young guys. Whenever you get some old vets that just have been through battles, understand what's going on, I think it does really help. And lastly, is linebacker. I do love Kiko. I think Kiko does a great job, but I think if you add some depth on the outside, obviously losing Corey Flagg, giving someone that can give Kiko a break, or even kind of fill it on the outside lanes for the outside linebackers, I think will be really, really big for us. So finding one more vet or one more depth guy for the defense can really help. And to me, those are the 3 spots that I think that Miami should severely focus on. So lastly, and we're going to break these guys down. Cam Ward, Dante Moore, Will Howard. For me, these are the top 3 in order. I think Cam Ward is number 1 by far. If I'm them, and I think they're going to completely sell out on Cam Ward and try to get him. I think second is Dante Moore. We're talking about a 5-star kid, can spin it, very rotational, does a lot of good things. I think he's number 2 just because he's a young guy. And if you don't get Cam, you can almost kind of fail with Dante if, the Dante, JB, and Emory Williams battle doesn't happen. I think one of them, either JB or Emory, stays, and they'll have a battle with Dante if he does come. So I think that could be interesting. I think lastly is Will Howard. I think this guy's tough. I think he does a lot of good stuff. I definitely think that he could take us to an ACC championship, but I don't know about a national champion. But I do think he has a lot of talent. I think he is someone that is a warrior. So now we're about to go through their film. Okay, so what we're about to do is we're going to go through about 2 or 3 minutes of each guy's film, and then we're going to be done. I'm kind of going to break each guy down. Okay, so this is Washington State versus Oregon State. One thing I do like is he is throwing to the left. You see his feet there, shoulders slightly lifted. Okay, he does a good job keeping the shoulder up. Okay, so 2 things that people have to do, and I want you guys to watch my shoulders, look at the top left. Okay, so if I'm throwing this way, okay, the one way to correctly throw it, lift my shoulders, rotate. Now I can keep my elbow up and everything stays here. My shoulders stay even, and I try to throw a fade. Well, now my hand has to go up, and now I'm throwing like this underneath it. Okay, so that's when you get a lot of uncontrolled balls. One thing I do like about this guy is he definitely understands the quarterback position, how to properly throw right, and I think that's one thing that makes him very, very good. So next, right here, good feet, good quick footwork. Waits a little bit on the front foot, but again, he's throwing with a guy right on his face, and to me, you couldn't even tell by his throwing motion. Good strike. I love it. Keep it outside. Let the guy run. Again, throwing to the left, feet's here. I would want his feet turned just a little more this way, kind of feet to where he's going, because what happens is, see how his feet, if you look at his back ankle, okay, so take his back ankle and draw an imaginary line. That's almost going, to me, it looks somewhere around like the 25-ish. I would want his feet turned more at the 10, because what happens is, again, I'm throwing this way now, so I'm throwing at you guys. If I'm throwing down my feet, my throwing motion should be here off my nose. If I'm throwing and my feet are pointing a little bit to the left, when I'm throwing out here off the side of my body, okay, that's where you get some shoulder issues and things like that. So again, these are just some small things that he can clean up. But again, this guy's super accurate. You'll see there, that was a great catch by his receiver. Okay. Again, I love the fast feet, getting the ball out quick. That's a lot of stuff that'll really help him as we see him. So yeah, here he's doing a great job of throwing guys open. I want him to get his feet just a little better, a little bit more of it to his target. And then on this one, I do think he does a better job. Again, his feet are kind of set. Take that back ankle, draw an imaginary line. It's kind of set a little bit in front, kind of to the sideline. You know where he's throwing. He throws a strike out there. And to me, that's just, he has to throw with a little more touch. But I at least like his feet. His feet are doing a good job. You know, if he misses, that ball's going to be outside. He misses inside with that, it's definitely a pick. This is toughness to Jalen Hurts tush push. I mean, if you got guys doing that, you know you're a tough son of a. So good job by him by putting his nose down. Again, I really like his feet. That's a better job. You can tell he's kind of throwing to the left. And again, he's just finding his check down. But I do think he has active feet. His feet at least tells you kind of where he's throwing. I think he could be a little more, cognizant of, hey, I want to over-exaggerate my feet, really make sure that my feet set to my target, so I'm throwing out in front. But for the most part, he does a really good job, and I do like that. I think that's a good job of arm talent. But again, for the most part, he's a super accurate guy. Getting fast feet, getting the ball out, really, really smooth arm action. There's not much wasted motion. He doesn't hitch. He doesn't pause. Very, very good arm speed. So his ball is going to have a lot of velocity coming out. Like, the kid definitely has some RPMs whenever he spins it. So super, super interested to actually see him throw in person. I think he's someone that can absolutely rip it. Again, and one thing I do like, and we're kind of going to go back, but one thing I do like that they do is you're going to watch them run a lot of, it's called RPOs, but these are quarterback RPOs, where it's like, hey, if you like your matchup, nope, I don't, because I'm throwing some type of screen, but there's a guy that's in the net within 5 yards. Usually most guys would run this. So for me, I'm running. You're going to kick him out, pull, and I'm around the edge. But for them, they trust him. He rips it out there, probably gets 2 or 3 yards, but they do a lot of QB run with him. And remember, Dawson used to love to do that with Clayton Tune. So to me, I think this guy can be super similar. We're obviously not going to expose him a lot, but they will do some QB run with him. Here goes the fade. I love it. See, to me, and I know I'm being a stickler. I know I'm kind of – I do like the ball. That's a good job. That's a really good job by him. But I do really think he does a good job of improvising right there. I mean, not many people can do that, throw on the run, get it out there to his guy. I mean, just really good job by him. That's something that I think if throughout college football, you're going to have to see more and more of. I don't necessarily think it's about guys being fast. I think it's about guys being crafty in the pocket and being able to move. Again, tough runner, stick his nose down to get the first. To me, I think, protecting himself is going to be something that's key. That's just bad ball security, something that he has to focus on. That's one hand on the ball, but, just to fix that. Again, good feet, good ball, accurate, fast. There's no hesitation. He kind of knows where he's going. To me, I think that's good too. That's a great job with his cadence. That at least tells you that he does have a strong cadence to get those guys to jump. Free play, very, very easy, very, very simple, but really does help out. That's be the last play that we watch. Get them in the red zone, see if they score. Here they go. I kind of like the feet drifting back. Okay, good. Get out. See, I think that's what we've been missing for a while, is those kind of plays. So I think he is Miami's number one guy. I don't think there's a question about that, and I'm just interested if they get him. So next, we're going to go over the number 2 guy, Dante Moore, young kid. Again, we're going to watch feet over to the left, ball out. Really good job fundamentally. That's one thing you're really going to watch about him. He's super good with his fundamentals. Again, feet to the right. He's throwing to the right, ball out. But he does have some tendencies, just young guy stuff, but you can definitely clean those up. To me, this is something else that he does really, really well, throwing on the run. I love it. To me, you kind of see it. He's running forward. That left shoulder is kind of turned. So what happens is when I'm turned this way, now my power is here from my upper body turning. It's called rotational power. Again, someone that we talked about with him. It's being super rotational. Throw it, balls out, accurate ball, makes it really simple. Puts a lot of the pressure on your stomach and not on your arm. Otherwise, if you don't rotate, you're throwing that with your entire arm. And again, that's how you get arm injuries. Again, great job by him rotating ball. I really do like him, man. I think he can be someone that could be special. Again, that's just one of the young things right there. I think that in the future he knows the guy's running. He's probably going to pump, make him jump, and then run around him. Again, that's some of the stuff we talk about. Just young guy mistakes that happen, and as you get older and you get more game experience, you learn. But I think that's one thing that he does very well is scrambling, getting out the pocket, and keeping his eyes downfield and finding guys. To me, a lot of young guys, whenever they do wind up, getting out the pocket, they look to run. Again, we'll go back through this throwing motion of his, but really, really smooth. Again, his feet's to the left, which means, hey, the ball's probably going to the left. I would say I want his stride to go forward and not out, but that's not bad. But again, he's rotating underneath himself. Great job with head, hips, knee. They're all on the back side with the front side slightly bent. I mean, that's really, really good position. Again, he rotates. You don't see him going forward and leaning hard. You see him standing there and rotating. Okay, that's one thing that you're really going to see about him. Really accurate rotational passer. Really gets some good RPMs and is just super efficient with his throwing motion. And then lastly, Will Howard. I do like Will Howard. I watched his film on this game. And if you guys haven't watched this game, I'd go back and watch it because he does have some mistakes. But, I mean, you watch him throw it. He battles. He fights. He probably should have had 3 or 4 picks this game. Especially if you go through the all throws. Like there were a couple that Missouri dropped, and there was one that he got kind of lucky on that actually scored the touchdown for the first one. But I do like him. I think that, that's just the Mario and Dawson effect. They got to have that effect, taking a good player and making sure that he's super efficient. You talk about this guy, heart, be able to make plays, running, like he does it all. He kind of is the heart and soul of the Kansas State team. And so I think he's a very big loss for them, but I think he also definitely has his own mistakes and flaws, like kind of like right here, he tries to force it and then he comes back again and does the same thing. And so I think that's just something that, he actually scores here. But I think that's something that, at least Dawson and Mar, that's their job to kind of clean it up to make sure those mistakes don't happen. There it is. He tries to force it. Luckily, that's a touchdown, but go back and look at the replay. It actually hit the defender's hand and kind of bounced off and, went to the offensive guy. Again, I like that throwaway. Again, his throwing motion is still super smooth. I would say out of the two, he's probably the least polished out of all 3 of them. But I will say out of all 3 of them, I think he's the biggest gamer. So there goes the second pick, or a first pick, but should have been second. But for me, I do think this guy's a gamer. I think that he will give you his heart and soul. And I think low key at quarterback, Miami needs that. We obviously need someone that's talented, but we need someone that can kind of, bring the juice back into football and kind of say, hey, man, like this guy is our guy. He's going to be our warrior. He's going to be someone that fights tooth and nail and gives it his all, but it's also talented. I think you need a combination of both. You can't have one or the other. You can't have a quarterback that is talented but soft and doesn't get hit. You also can't have a quarterback that is super tough but then, can't complete a ball and things of that nature. So I think he kind of is on the combination of both sides. I think that out of all of them, he probably is the least talented out of them. There's another one right there that kind of got tipped up, but I think he's someone that can definitely help Miami. I think we're talking about putting a better line around him. Again, you guys can go back and watch, but when he has a good offensive line and he has protection, this guy's money. The couple of times where he starts to get a little frantic and things kind of get dicey for him is when he starts getting pressure. Again, he doesn't have the best offensive line. A lot of times you'll see he's kind of fading away, kind of making throws really off his back foot. And so I think if you give him a line like Miami has, where it's a top, 2 or 3 line in the country, then you allow this guy to kind of sit in the pocket, do his thing, and be a lot more comfortable. I will say, as our former quarterback, whenever the pocket's pretty, it does make it a lot easier on us to be accurate and to kind of calm our mind down, because otherwise we're thinking, okay, I got to get it out. This is my 1-2 read, and see kind of right there, he's moving and ducking and dodging and missing guys. And so I think it's just one thing that I think with Miami and Dawson and kind of what they're building, it'll really, really help him. But again, if I'm them, going after Cam Ward number 1, because I think he can be the guy. So that is it. I hope you guys really enjoyed the quarterback breakdown. If you guys have any more questions, please comment below, as I will do a better job of going through the comments. as well. Listen, guys, we are bringing out an e-learning. So what I'm doing is I know different business owners, I know different athletes that have started their own business that are really successful. And what I'm trying to do is bring an e-learning course that will allow you guys to learn from them. Obviously, I'll ask the questions, but we're gonna do an open forum platform Q&A with a discussion board. If you guys are interested, please just type yes down in the bottom and leave your email. What I'll start doing is I'll start collecting emails, and then from there, you guys will get the first look of what we're building, who our speakers are. It'll be a 12-month course, and I'm very interested to see if you guys would like it. Thank you, and have a great rest of your day.